Okay, we're down at the shop today and I'm going to talk about a couple issues. Mainly, the easiest way you can turn one of these Fanuc based CNC mills into a big scrap pile. A lot of people don't realize, especially in the OM series and a lot of the other older series, they're designed to be connected to power most of the time, and if they're connected to power and on, there usually isn't an issue. We run into issue is if you pick one of these up on an auction site or something like that, and it's been powered down for maybe several years, maybe just a month without power. These do, this one in particular has alkaline batteries that actually power the backup storage for the computer. So in these, they have an EEPROM, which has like program code and etc. But the things that are manufacturer specific, a lot of the settings related to like your motor controllers and things like that are all battery back storage. So obviously if this machine loses power and you don't have a good set of batteries in it, those settings go away, the machine doesn't work. And a lot of times it's very difficult to find those settings. Even I've had a lot of folks that have watched the channel. It's probably been one of the #1 things when people see the Fanuc OM, they're wanting the parameter file. And I've shared that with a lot of you. The problem is a lot of y'all have your PMC may be external, and you've also lost other settings off of that. Your tool changer may not be the same, etc. So it's really difficult to find. My particular machine, when I bought this, I made sure that the batteries were good. You've got to worry about it a little bit because this takes D batteries, and obviously if you load this up on a truck and drive it down the road, it's going to vibrate, and there's always a possibility that it's going to become disconnected and lose power, and if it does, you're going to lose everything that was stored on the machine. Actually, on this machine, if you go back and watch the video, I actually had one of the optical cables jar loose and come out when I first got the machine. I couldn't get it to really do anything. But on this machine, I did not lose those. If you look, there's some fairly good documentation out there for this DNC controller. I've got this on other videos. But this is basically just a serial to USB storage box. And there's a way you can actually go in and back up your entire machine. My particular machine, it still had a floppy disk. I did have to order a floppy disk reader off of Amazon. Luckily the floppy disk was still there, and I actually have all my original files. And they also had a text version back in the electrical cabinet. So you basically open up that electrical cabinet, and there'll be there was a little pamphlet in mine that had all of its settings. I would not fathom how long it would take to enter all those individually. So if you have one of these and you have not lost your parameters yet, figure out how to back up those parameters via the serial port. It's just peace of mind, and it keeps this machine from turning into a big paperweight, which is pretty easy to do. So what I'm going to do today is these batteries are about almost 2 years old now. I've heard some people say you should change them every 6 months, some people 12 years. A lot of other guys say, hey, 5-10 years. So I've kind of settled on 2. There is an indicator on this main screen that will tell you that your batteries are getting low. So obviously if you have the machine powered up and running and you ever see that, you want to immediately replace those batteries before you take away power. Now, one reason it's really prevalent, and a really prevalent issue with home shop machining, is one, you're buying an older machine already, it's got some age on it, and 2, I run a rotary, so I don't have that rotary running all the time, so I do power down the machine when it's not in use, and sometimes it'll sit for 2 weeks before I run anything on it. So just something to think about. This is really easy to do. Basically every 2 years, just replace the batteries. Make sure you do it correctly. So I'm going to show you how I do it, just to give you an idea of what it is. There will be one exception on the video. I would really like to really quickly change these batteries. I don't want to risk me losing power, which I hardly ever lose power, but it could happen. So when I do that change, I'll probably go ahead and change, and I'll walk back around the machine and show you where that's at, rather than actually, you know, doing a whole lot of footage, because I don't want to be worrying about the camera when I'm replacing these. I want to get these replaced and make sure everything comes back up. The battery panel is on the back. It's easily accessible. It's even accessible on my machine from the outside of the machine. What you want to do is you actually want to bring the machine completely up, make sure everything's working, make sure you've got good power. Don't do this, you know, in the middle of a hurricane or even a thunderstorm. You want to make sure that you've got good, reliable power when you do this. So I'm going to get started. Got to build some air, and we're going to get the rotary started. I'll bring everything up and kind of show you where in the area of the screen. I don't remember exactly which point here it shows up, but I know it's in this area, and I'll show you that block. It'll basically come up with like a, you know, a battery warning or error to let you know you need to change these, but I wouldn't wait that long. Okay, I'm not sure how well the audio is going to pick up. Got the machine running, but there'll be a little bit of glare on this screen, but it'll show up right down here. I'm getting ready to go back. I'm going to let the camera run, and I'm going to pull the battery box out. I got all my batteries here in my pocket. And I'm actually got the machine home. Everything's zero reference. Okay, I'm getting ready to pull the battery pack. Kind of get over here in the light where you can see this. Maybe it'll focus. This is what you're looking for on the back of the machine. You just need a flathead screwdriver. It'll have some information on it, and the batteries will be behind this cover. So we're going to swap those out real quick. As you can see right here, there's a battery alarm that just says BAT in red. That means bad things would happen if I shut the machine down right now. And I'm going to swap mine out. Mine takes 3D batteries. Okay, so I've got the batteries swapped out. I've ensured that everything's connected. So now one thing you have to do is you basically want to go, on my machine you need to go to the alarm page, is usually where I go. And you just want to hit reset. If that battery clears, you have connection. If it doesn't clear, you've got, you know, battery flipped around or something like that. So always make sure that that alarm is clear before you power the machine down. Otherwise, you've just destroyed your parameters. And again, if you don't have your parameters saved, go grab them. Either write everything down, look at it on the screen, which would take a really long time, or download it into your computer or your DNC via the serial port. Anyway, I hope this helps some folks out, especially if you're thinking about buying a older used mill. Be sure to check and see how your control actually stores data, and whether it's battery backup or it's in something that doesn't require power to keep your settings. Anyway, thanks, and we'll see you on the next one.